We ship with the first flex payment, and then you pay it off over time. And we're gonna continue on with our next item, which is the XF, which is the condition, from NGC, which is the grading company. The Emperor Constantine I Roman Empire bronze coin, $99.95. Mike, I feel like this whole show is full of things that I've never seen.
This is an actual Emperor Constantine Roman bronze. Amazing. Made while he was alive, and used to pay Roman troops in about 310 AD. So this coin is about 1,700 years old. Oh my, it is 100% original. I've only got about 12 dozen, 13 dozen of these. I have 133. 43 of them already spoken for. Right. Okay.
Just they saw your name on the program guide.
That's right.
So they already looked it up.
So this is Emperor Constantine. There's only 133 left. Let me explain to you why he's important. You may have heard of him. He had a city named after him, Constantinople. Yes. He is the first Christian emperor of the Roman Empire. Right there. He brought Christianity to the Roman Empire. This is his coin. This is his actual coin. This is not reprinted. This is not restruck. This is not redone. And this is certified. And I have to impress upon you how critically important it is for you to buy ancient coins that are certified by one of the 3 major auction houses, okay? They have to be, or not auction houses, but certification houses. So NGC, PCGS, or Annex. Those are the only people, because the vast majority of all of the ancient Roman coins that are out there in the marketplace are counterfeits. They are not real. This is not only guaranteed to be real, but look at the condition. Every one of these coins individually hand-struck. Every one of them individually hand-struck, and this is 1,700 years old. And the way we have this, people always ask me, how do you have this coin? It was a Roman payroll coin. And what the Romans would do before they'd go into battle is they would bury the payroll of the army. In case they were overrun. A theme here. There's a lot of people being overrun. They're overrunning and wanting the money. Right. And if they lost, then they didn't get paid, and the money oftentimes just stayed buried. Right. And several of these payroll hoards were found recently, and look at this particular coin. Now, I've only got, like I said, I've only got about 10 dozen of these remaining. These are 100% original. It is certified authentic. It comes with a certificate of authenticity. I want to very quickly flip over and show the reverse of this too. The condition on these is absolutely spectacular. Every single one individually hand struck. Now, as Constantine